blamed the State Election Commission that the police are under him. The State Election Commission, as per the Act, is under West Bengal government. Does Banerjee Babu not know that?
I do think, Professor Mandal, that there were a lot of factual discrepancies in what you said. Dr. Fawad Halim, let me bring you into the debate. Professor Gargi Randi Roy is also with us on the broadcast. Dr. Halim, when we talk about the history of political violence in the state of West Bengal, it's not new. In fact, most of the accounts that you read will tell you that the elections used to be a far more bloody affair in the state. And one expected that with the change of the government, this tradition, this bad tradition, so-called tradition of violence, would sever its ties with the state. That has not happened. The state government is to be directly held responsible for the law and order situation. Why do you think that the state government was opposing the deployment of the central forces, something that the High Court had to very sternly come upon?
Well, if you see the string of results that have come in West Bengal over the past 1 year, the Baliganj by-election is a result on April 2022. The Trinamool Congress had lost a severe part of their voters, and the left came in the second position. The BJP was relegated to the third position. Subsequent to that, the Sagardigi MLA by-election, which was in March 23rd, which is a rural constituency, we've seen that the Left Congress Alliance, the Congress-supported left candidate, won the election. The Trinamool was relegated to the second position, and the BJP became a distant third. If you see what's happening in Bengal at this point of time, the number of nominations that are being filed has a very interesting character. The BJP has left almost what you call 1/3 of the seats uncontested for the Trinamool Congress. The Trinamool Congress has filed seat nominations which is over and above the total numbers of seats that are going into polls, which means that they are going to see that inter-party, what you call factionalism and feuds and violence, and that has already started in the districts where one group versus the other group of the Trinamool are going to use bombs and guns against each other. As far as the left and the Congress and the ISF alliance is that, you see, this is a very concrete aspirations of the people that is getting reflected here. We've had violence in Murshidabad on the very first day when the elections were declared. We've had violence in Chopra, that's Uttar Dinajpur. We have comrades who are fighting for their lives in the ICU. We've got violence in Bhangur. So it's not only Bhangur that is seeing violence. It's an all Bengal phenomenon. And one has to understand that the police are playing an active role on behalf of the Trinamool Congress, and they are actually trying to ensure that the Trinamool Congress, what you call candidates, they can get a walkover by ensuring that those from the opposition are not allowed to file their what you call nominations.
This was an issue in the 2018 in the last panchayat elections as well, where about I think over 34% of the seats went uncontested. Now it remains open to debate that was because of the law and order situation or the fact that the opposition was not really prepared for the elections per se.
Debate on this, Anushka. The people of West Bengal do not have an open debate on this. The people of West Bengal are very clear that the Trinamool Congress has ensured that the civil administration, the police administration, organization are all working in sync so that nominations are not filed and people do not get the right to vote.
And the state government has the onus and responsibility to ensure that any political party and its member, if it wants to go to the nomination table and wants to file its nomination, there should be a safe and a secure atmosphere. Professor Gargi Nandi Roy, I'll come to you, Manojit. Professor Gargi Nandi Roy, go ahead, make your point.
Yes. Thank you for inviting me, Anusha. See, I don't think the left can give any lecture to the TMC because I have grown up in West Bengal when it was a left era. So this culture of political violence was started by the left, okay? And now it has been taken to another level by TMC. So
Professor Halim, let him make a point. I'll come to you.
So let's be very clear. We know the kind of incidents, and since the left had driven away the industry, the TMC also drove away industry. So a flourishing cottage industry of bomb making happened in West Bengal. And bombs used to be made in TMC left era also. So they really cannot give any lectures. Coming to Manojit Das point, which was done by BJP yesterday or the opposition parties, we have seen, Anusha, yesterday when bombs were hurled and all, These police were standing at a distance. Monojita, it was on media, it was shown. When the journalist went to the policeman, he was the assistant SP. He was saying, where is the sound of the bomb? I can't hear. They were eating. Can you imagine, Anusha? The bombs are hurled, gunfire, cars are burning, and the police at a distance are standing and eating, and we have seen it on television screen. Nothing can be more shocking than that. The problem is, why this much of violence? Why this culture? Because of this abject poverty. And even the left has to be blamed, because it was the left who drove away industry. They glorified poverty, and today so much of abject poverty exists in the villages.
Mr. Manojit Mandal, I want you to answer on 2 points. One is the due security. 2 points, sir. I'm just streamlining it for you. One is the fact that why is it that so many candidates from different political parties complain that they're not able to file the nominations, and there is an atmosphere of fear and intimidation. Second, why did the state government oppose the deployment of central forces in the state when the situation is so tense? 4 people already dead, and it was only after the orders of the High Court that the CISF could be rushed into the state in different parts.
Can you give me
clear?
No, 1 second. Let Manojit Mandal come in. Professor Mandal, please go ahead. Professor Mandal, please go ahead.
Don't be violent in TV studio, madam.
All right, no personal comments. No personal comments. Professor Mandal, please go ahead. Yes.
Clear answer. 231,000 nominations were filed, record in such elections in the country. Maximum number of nominations filed by the opposition. Please take note of this. So this is a narrative planted by BJP, CPM and Congress and this communal party, whatever it is named, in this country, that they are unable to file nominations, right? Point number 1. Point number 2, about deployment of central forces. What did the central force do in 2021 elections? They had the license to kill people openly. 10th April, Sitalkuchi. Please take note of that. 4 voters were gunned down by the CISF. Still people are looking for justice. How many people are killed in Manipur? 150. Central force, what are they doing? Yet we believe the State Election Commission, which is not under state government, please correct your fact, that's a constitutionally independent body. If they decide that they will deploy certain forces for CISF, CRPF outside, the state government doesn't have any problem. We do not have any problem. There are 3 places, incidents of 3 places are happening. He is reporting. Even the CPM person, Puad Halim, he is reported only 3 places some incident took place. And in all these 3 places, Murshidabad, Malda and Bhangod, if you look at the statistics, only the opposition are stronger. So this explains that they are involved in the process of violence. You talk about Birbhum always, not a single incident reported from Birbhum. And yet, the opposition did not have any candidates to file in the nominations. In Birbhum, most of the seats are...
the police in the state of West Bengal, the police...
For God's sakes, in such elections, I'll tell you, in such elections, maximum seats went uncontested even in Tripura, Uttarakhand. Please take note of that. 80% seats in Tripura.
Well, sir, you have to read the... No, sir. You're right in saying that. But no, 1 second. We have picked up Bengal. So did the states like other states that you mentioned, Uttarakhand and the northeastern state, did that case go to the Supreme Court? And did the Supreme Court have to intervene and tell you that, look, there is a law and order situation? No. So, sir, the problem of violence in the state of West Bengal is a well-known fact.
No, please, you and I know what has the Supreme Court said in 2018 elections.
You tell me what it is.
Supreme Court has given thumping approbation to 2018 elections. Thumping approbation.
Sir, 1 second. Sir, 1 second. It is one thing. Sir, 1 second. Professor Mandal, 1 second. It is one thing for the Supreme Court to say that, yes, the process of elections went fair and fine. But as a journalist and as a reporter, I've covered the hearings when in one second, sir, let me finish my point. When in one hearing after another, the West Bengal government was pulled up because they were not doing their job properly. You can go back to multiple reports, media reports and court orders. No, let me go to Shishir Bajoria as well. Shishir Bajoria, the straight question that the TMC is asking you here is that there are clear instances where communal tensions are being created by the BJP. You are using communal issues to somewhere flare up the balance and perhaps use the polarizing atmosphere to create your voter base. The TMC clearly argues that the state government is doing its bit, the police has done its job, in fact, BJP is the troublemaker. This has been their narrative on multiple instances that we've seen. Please go ahead, sir.
My friend, the professor, quoted an example of Sital Kuchi, and he said 4 voters were killed. He possibly, again, does not know that those 4 who came to snatch the weapons of the central forces were not voters when they were found snatching the weapons. Now, there are there's a platoon of armed people, and their weapons are being snatched. What do you expect them to do? Manojit Babu, if you do not know, please know you've come with wrong facts today. You're all on the back foot today. They were not voters. Now,
No. I will go to Professor Mandal and give him the opportunity to respond to this. Let the BJP finish his argument. Professor Mandal, I'll come back to you.
Now, the other is, they do not want central force. Madam, that was your question to him?
Yeah.
Why? But they want other state forces. So they have accepted that they do not have adequate forces, and yet the DG and CS of the state has given an undertaking to the commission, we have adequate forces. This was again a misrepresentation, and they say we'll take... See, because my chief minister, she also, again I'm repeating, my chief minister, she has this great thing of putting the opposition unity. She wants forces from other opposition states. Politics isme bhi hai. Force
but Shishiji, there is a fair point that Professor Manojit Mandal made. Though I agree that the history of violence in the state of West Bengal is something that should be put into the political context when we talk about the number of uncontested seats. But the fact that in local panchayat elections, a lot of seats may go uncontested, and the trend is not unknown to the Indian politics, is the point that the TMC is making, and perhaps should be countered by you if you disagree.
See, very, very simple.
Yeah.
Which last time, 25,000 seats they won. Out of the 36,000 seats that they won in total, 25 they won unopposed. You can see that where there's competition, these guys don't win because they have to win uncontested. This time, what took them by surprise, see, at the end of the day, their goons, their police force, they can do whatever they want. But people's power is people's power.
But Shishiji, they argue that it's in fact the BJP goons. You in fact get the leaders from other states to create a law and order problem in the state. That's their argument.
No, Anushaji, I'm again saying, why aren't they being caught? The chief minister comes on television and says that Bhangur was done by BJP. Catch the culprits.
It's not Bhangur, it's
Why
Bhangur.
aren't the culprits being caught? Why aren't the culprits being caught? A revolver is found in a TMC Neta's pocket. The police stands there and says, why aren't you running? And he says, I am TMC Neta. Finally, they had to snatch the revolver from him. But the police never asked for his remand. The magistrate was forced to give him a judicial custody.
All right, Professor Mandal, a quick response from you. Then I'll go to Dr. Faudalim and Gargi Nandi Roy.
Abhishek Banerjee was attacked 4 days back by one of their goons ministers. What is his name, Shantanu or whatever. And this happened on TV. Shantika Banerjee in Bankura was attacked by BJP goons. That was also captured by TV. What are we talking about? Shubhendu Adhikari every other day making inflammatory comments about how he will attack police and people. And I want the answer. Why don't you find a single seat in Bhangur? It's not Bhangur, it is Bhangur. Because you have alliance with this communal party. And yet you are saying that maximum number of nominations have been filed by you. You said right now. And still you are complaining? These are all peddle of lies that these people are spreading every other day to malign the state, which they have been doing for the last 5-6 years, BJP. And now they have alliance in Congress, CPM and this fundamental party, fundamentalist party. So,
no, Professor Mandal, I agree to you to the extent that whatever your political opponents say is not the gospel truth for the state of West Bengal.
I tell you one thing,
and one second, sir. But one expected that with the new chief minister, the change of government and a new political party, this culture of violence would go away. That has not happened.
I tell you, it has changed. Earlier, what used to happen in CPM's rule, Jungle Mall area, every other day there will be rain
Dr.
Faudalim,
each time when we are discussing on the violence that has claimed 4 lives so far, and it's the recent issue, the historical burden of political violence in the state of West Bengal is on the left parties. And this is a question that all your political opponents and in fact analysts are also asking you, that left parties are responsible for this.
But it's very clear, you have to understand that prior to the left regime in West Bengal, you didn't have panchayat elections. You see, Mamata Banerjee, Subrata Mukherjee were part and parcel of the last Congress government that gave up power here in West Bengal to the left regime, did not conduct panchayat elections. It's only after 1977 that the left front came into power. The local governance was given priority and panchayat elections started to be held and people were given their right. And Jyoti Basu made the famous statement that West Bengal will not be ruled or run from writers' building. But having said that, one has to come, these are questions of distractions. Mamata Banerjee is inherently anti-panchayat because when she actually understands her relevance in prior to 1977, before the left came to power, she was not in favor of panchayat elections or panchayati raj. That's her entire legacy. So, having said that, let us discuss what's happening today. She's been ruling the state for the past.
On a teens when you came to power.
Professor Mandal, I'll come to you for closing comments. You can take your objection. You can make your point. 1 second. Let him make his point. I'll come to you. You say that in your closing comments. Yes, Professor.
That Mr. Mandal has eaten his own words on your program. He started off with Bhangur is the only place that violence is taking place. And then he goes on to quote me and say that, okay, Dr. Halim has mentioned 3 places. I can mention another, what you call 100 places here. It's going to take time. We can talk about Burdwan. But what is actually happening? I'll just illustrate to you. In Burdwan, the Trinamool Congress organization tried to stop the filing of nominations. The local people took the left candidates to file their nominations in such numbers that the TMC MLA had to come and ask for apology. उसे माफी मांगने पड़ा जनता के सामने क्योंकि उन्होंने nomination को अटकाया था. So this is the reality in Bengal. There is a groundswell against the Trinamool Congress and that B team, there's the Bharatiya Janata Party. One has to keep in mind all the people from the TMC who are not getting nominations.
With due respect, sir, you might argue the groundswell against the BJP or the TMC. But the left party is facing unprecedented historical decimation in the state of West Bengal. You can't deny that, can you?
That's changing. That's what I'm telling you. If you look at Baliganj election, by-election results, if you look at the Sagirdi by-election results, these are clearly telling you that the mood of here is changing. And one should not forget that despite the all Bengal violence that's taken place, you've seen the Bharatiya Janata Party hold hands with the separatist ideology holding parties in the North Bengal in the Darjeeling district. They are actually going together to form a front with the GJM and the other separatist forces. Manipur,
a quick comment from Gargi Nandi Roy as I begin to wrap the debate. Professor Roy, we can continue to talk about who's responsible, BJP, TMC. On each occasion, there are instances, there are examples of how the judiciary has had to step in. Various human rights organizations, the National Human Rights Organization had to play a key role in ensuring that the culture of violence is put into control when electoral processes take place. Would you agree, or do you agree with this contention that compared to the past, the instances of violence, the severity and the scale of violence in the state of West Bengal has progressively come down?
No, it has not come down, Anusha. The ghost of the post-poll violence still haunts the people of Bengal, where Khala Hobe became synonymous to rape when told to a woman and became synonymous with murder when told to a man. So it has not come down. But I have a question to the left. See, today left, Congress, all candidates are attacked in West Bengal by the TMC. They are complaining against TMC, but they are forming an opposition alliance with the TMC in the center against BJP. So what kind of hypocrisy is this, Mr. Halim?
Well, that's a brand of hypocrisy that exists in politics across the world. I don't think that's the point of debate here. But Professor Roy, I appreciate the points that you're making. Professor Mandal, you wanted to make a point. You had few interjections to make.
Yes. There will even central forces cannot save Bengal. Let me tell you.
One second.
Monojita, we know because bike-borne TMC goons visit houses which are marked as non-TMC, threatening people not to come.
Professor Manojit Mandal, as you make the closing comments, here is what I want to know as a journalist and from the side of the citizens of the state of West Bengal, whichever political party, forget it's the BJP, the left or some other communal organization as you argue, or the workers of the TMC. The police should do its job. I think the most worrying aspect is that there are certain videos or evidence, quote unquote, that has come on record that show that the police is not doing its job, or the police is hand in gloves with the people who are perpetrating violence.
Anusha, police are also human beings and they have to survive. the kind of bombs are being hurled at them by the BJP and ISF goons. The one difference that you need to make is to CPM violence and what is happening at this point in time. The CPM and BJP, they are known to use the state machinery to create violences. Now these violences, which are largely limited to certain pockets in Bengal, but I repeat, should be blamed on the opposition because they are involved. TMC is in the receiving end.
Sir, I reiterate my question. Sir, even if I were to take your question on the face value.
But they use state machinery to perpetrate violence.
Professor Mandal, even if in Delhi today, if there is any political opponent, any political party which indulges into violence, then the question will not be that why is that political party doing the violence? The question would be on Delhi police, what were they doing on the spot? Why didn't they do their job? And the same analogy holds true for any state in the country. The police has to do its job,
Show me single TMC leaders being arrested for post-poll violence who is investigating
the problem is
CBI under High Court order. Show me 2 TMC leaders being arrested for this post-poll violence narrative. Please ask CBI to demonstrate 2 TMC leaders who are arrested for post-poll violence. And here you have this narrative of post-poll violence.
All right, you've made your point. You've made your point. Professor Faudalim, a quick point from you. One second. One at a time, please. Professor Faudalim, make your point. Professor Halim. Yes.
I am saying that when in front of the police, bombs are being hurled, bullets are being fired, and the police are saying that we are not seeing anything, we do not hear anything, then the question of arresting TMC leaders does not arise. When the police and the civil administration,
absolutely. Yeah, that was my initial question to Professor Mandal.
Circle and not allow people from the opposition to enter the office to file their nominations, then the reality of an arrest is very far away.
All right, I have to, as I wrap this debate, Mr. Shishir Bajoria, once again, the question is that the deployment of central forces is something that the state government resisted. It once again shows the kind of mistrust that exists between the center and the state as far as the administration of the state is concerned. I already raised questions about the police inaction, which many panelists have already raised here. But this mistrust that prevails is clearly partisan and political in nature. And the TMC continues to insist that the police is doing its job. It's the BJP which is going around with bombs and with arms and ammunition and creating problems of law and order in the state. Mr. Shishir Bajoria, if you can hear me, sir, please go ahead. Make your point.
A very quick wrap up.
Yes.
First of all, my thanks to Manojit Babu for accepting the fact when he said, police are human beings, wo nahi karte hain. He knows this. That is why he said. Now, second, as far as Dr. Fuad Halim is concerned, Dr. Fuad Halim, I think you're confusing the issue of calling BJP the B team. Don't forget, you are claiming victory when you come second. You're claiming victory when you partner someone who wins. You're claiming, and you are the party who ran the state for 34 years. Dr. Fuad Halim, itna to sharam kar lo. And even in today's nomination, we filed 55,000. You were not even close. You were 47,000. And you call us a B team. Well, if you want to, if you feel happy about it, go ahead. It's your choice.
All right. We just hope and ensure, I think the onus is on the state government to ensure that the electoral process, the panchayat election or the local body election process, which is very intrinsic to the democratic spirit of India at the local level, at the regional level, is something that goes on unabated and more importantly, without any law and order situation. The High Court has intervened and all eyes, as and when the polling happens and the results come out. With that, it's a wrap. Shishir Bajoria, Dr. Fauad Halim, Professor Manojit Mandal, Professor Gargi Nandi Roy. Thank you all for joining us this evening and thank you for sharing your views. We're slipping into a very short break. Up next on Viewpoint, the communal fault lines return in Karnataka as the Congress government moves to repeal the anti-conversion law. BJP has accused the government of appeasement politics. The debate after a very quick break.
And also in other places also BJP is projecting these victories as a Northeast model. This time the tensions and massacres disfiguring the central government image, especially in the Northeast sector.
I can't follow what you said.
According to this, all incidents, whether it is affect our image of central government in Northeast area. Northeast area we have already been
central government is responding promptly. Say, for example, extra security force timely sent it, and even the ex gratia was only 5 lakhs for the life loss, now increased to 10, and the special package for restoration of those churches, the temples and houses and property loss, for that special package is given. And the central government is also constituted a peace committee to bring the normalized. Central government is the responding promptly.
Okay, this is second time you are
yes.
In a recent act of violence in Manipur, unidentified miscreants set fire to the house of Union Minister Rajkumar Ranjan Singh in Imphal. The incident occurred in the early hour of Friday while the minister was away. This follows as a similar attack on the House of State Minister Nemcha Kipzen. Despite a curfew in Imphal, the movement is to reach the minister residence at Kongba. At that time, there was a total of 9 security escort, 5 security guard, and 8 additional guard on the duty. Let's hope to restore normalcy and foster a peaceful environment for the residents of Manipur.
Bring in our colleague Preeti, who in fact is now joining us live on the broadcast. Preeti, as far as the MOS External Affairs residence is concerned, Rajkumar Ranjan's residence has now been attacked twice. He's saying, luckily, thankfully this time my children were not there. They've been in the national capital. But do we have any clarity who were the miscreants behind this attack on his residence?
No clarity on who were these miscreants at this point of time, but there were almost 200 people who actually rushed into that place, and they burnt that whole entire residence down into ashes. Even the place where the security guard was staying, he was also made to run away from his place as the mob attacked his place as well. The place where he was residing as well. So you see that who are these miscreants are yet to be identified, but as the peace process is also going on simultaneously, people are trying to work to both the communities. By the peace committee, the members in the peace committee are also trying to talk with the members of both the communities. We are seeing that the numbers in the violent incidences are also taking a rise, because there are certain people who are also have a lot of disagreements about the peace committee as well. So the people, the native people in Manipur, the locals who are actually at the receiving end, the students, they have expressed their view that those people who do not want to go through all these violent incidents and they want to get back to their normal life, normalcy they want back in the state. They have stated that there are certain miscreants also. Who are these people are yet to be identified, and if these people are not identified, the peace process won't move forward, as stated by the locals there, who want normalcy, who want peace back in the state, and who are at the receiving end. Because you see, they are at the receiving end. Data services are banned in the state until 20th of June, and it is definitely harming the people, the normal people, the students who are at the
citizens of Manipur
end.
who continue to bear the brunt, as Preeti is rightly pointing out, because their lives have completely turned upside down and they really want a long-term solution. Preeti, we'll have to leave that conversation there. Thanks a lot for getting us all those details. Manipur still continues to be on the edge because there are episodes of violence that continue to be reported. Now we're understanding miscreants have vandalized and torched Union Minister Rajkumar Ranjan's residence last night, and this happened in Imphal. Now remember, this is crucial because this now becomes the second time that Ranjan's home has been attacked during the ongoing violence in Manipur. The incident took place just a day after clashes broke out between unidentified miscreants and villagers that killed 9 people and injured several others in Kamalok area. Meanwhile, TMC MP Derek O'Brien has also written to the chairman of the Parliament's Home Affairs Committee seeking urgent meet on Manipur violence. We in fact are now getting a reaction coming in from the MOS External Affairs Rajkumar Ranjan as well.
And there is no religious.
So how can you say that? Because more than 100 churches have been attacked during this violence.
If you say like that, more than many temples are also demolished. So the mob violence, mob violence, you cannot identify whether this is church or this is temple. Everything is demolished. More than 70,000 the peoples were displaced. This is not on the basis of caste, creed or religions. It's a mob.
Does BJP think that religious conversation behind this attack?
No, I don't think so. Because I already told you that I was working for the last 30-40 years for the ethnic harmony and self-respecting each others. There is no religious issue. We are free. India, you know, is secular. Anybody can, any community can have their own faith. There is no restriction, not on that base. But this is unwanted and this is unguarded incident.
Any casualties?
Welcome back. A controversy has once again erupted in Karnataka's politics as Siddaramaiah government has decided to repeal the anti-conversion law which was introduced by the former BJP government in the state. Now, the present government will bring a law to repeal this particular act that has existed so far in the upcoming assembly session on the 3rd of July. The anti-conversion law, also known as the Karnataka Protection of Right to Freedom of Religion, was passed by the earlier Basuraj Bommai government back in December 2021. The law, which makes religious conversions through coercion, misrepresentation, allurement illegal, has been adopted by many BJP-ruled states. The Congress has called the law unconstitutional against the ethos of communal harmony in the country. The party claims that the law is being used to harass minorities. Now, when the elections were going on, when there was this entire narrative, the party has promised to repeal the law when the campaigning was underway. And now the party says it has promised, it has delivered on what it had said earlier. It has the mandate to do so. Hindu groups, as expected, are up in arms with Bajrang Dal staging protests against Siddaramaiah government. As communal fault lines return, the big question is this purely a policy agenda by the new government, or this is once again brazen appeasement politics by the Congress party, which the BJP accuses the Congress of? We discuss on Viewpoint tonight.
We are now doing is just repeal that provisos which the previous government brought about, and that's all we are doing. And we respect, our government respect the constitution.
We are now making that in tune with the constitutional spirit.
अगर वो लोग वो बिल को वापस लेना चाहते हैं तो हाउस और हाउस के बाहर भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी उसके प्रोटेस्ट करेंगे.
Appeasement politics. They just want to distract the people from the guarantee scheme because they failed in guarantee. They are not able to deliver the guarantee.
The communal fault lines, they never disappeared, but they seem to have strongly reappeared in the Karnataka's politics. Prashant JS, who's a spokesperson of Karnataka BJP, Mr. Rashid Kidwai, who's an author and senior journalist, and Mr. B.S. Arun, who's a senior journalist. We also have Samrugh Hegde, who's a spokesperson of the Karnataka Pradesh Congress Committee. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the broadcast. A very good evening to all of you. Prashant JS, coming to you. The Congress Party argues that this entire law was something that was not permitted under Indian Constitution. They also say that the manner in which this law was drafted and the provisions of the law were drafted in a manner that it was used as a tool to harass the minority community. I ask you to open the debate here because the direct question is to the BJP that this was a law which ab initio was unconstitutional in nature.
What is unconstitutional about the law, which was Right to Freedom of Religion Act 2022? What is unconstitutional? What was brought about in that? Only to say forced conversions cannot be done. You cannot allure somebody. You cannot lure somebody into conversion. You can't convert somebody through coercion. Constitution gives the right to every individual to choose the religion of his or her choice. We are not even disputing it. At the same time, you can't have forceful conversions because if the Congress party respects the sentiments of Hindus and also keeping in mind the constitutional provisions and the law laid down by Supreme Court,
is applicable to every citizen of the country as per Article 141(1) of the Constitution. In Stain laws versus State of Madhya Pradesh, Supreme Court has said that conversion is not a fundamental right,
It is not.
and
Yes.
state can regulate wherever it sees there's a issue in that.
I'll point out a specific provision that has been pointed. Yes, you're absolutely right in Rev Stain laws versus the state of Madhya Pradesh. In fact, it's a constitutional precedent that has been used elsewhere. But there's a particular provision I want to talk to you about: the fact that anybody could have been a complainant, the fact that the burden of proof was put on the person against whom the complaint was being made, the fact that there was disproportionate powers that were given to the police, and there was also a power of arrest that they could exercise upon a mere complaint, made this entire law a tool of harassment. The particular provisions I'm talking about.
Anusha, see, if the government finds that there is something which is unconstitutional or it will result to something, they can bring in measures to regulate it if they feel that the regulation is not proper. Repealing is not the act. The act of repeal indicates the Congress mindset of being anti-Hindu, divisive politics, and only to practice vote bank politics, nothing else. Because what they're doing is nothing but appeasement. Because if there are two sides to a coin of Congress, one is corruption, another is appeasement. So therefore, on one hand, they're failing to promise they're fulfilling the promises there. They're landing in trouble there. As to what they promise and what they're trying to deliver. To deviate the people from that, they're trying to bring in this and incite fear in the minds of people that Karnataka is not safe for people, and they're wanting to bring the anti-conversion law, which in fact is absolutely baseless because Karnataka is
now,
the most peaceful
now I want to
state,
go to the Congress
but
party,
Congress
which is the ruling government in the state. Samriddhi, the point that I want to understand from you, a question plain and simple. Are there no illegal conversions that happen in the state of Karnataka? Let me put it in a different way. Are there no conversions that happen in Karnataka because of allurement or various other methods which this particular law has made illegal? Are you saying there are no instances? And if there are instances, don't we need a law to regulate it, sir? Mr. Hegde.
Let me start off by saying the BJP and the opposition are unable to digest the fact that the Congress manifesto has been accepted by the people of Karnataka. And we are only delivering on our promises. The guarantees have been implemented, and now we are undoing the wrongs that were brought in by the BJP, by the previous government. The people of Karnataka have elected a Sarva Janangada Sarkara. With respect to the legislation in question, it was first brought in as an ordinance and then as an act without any empirical data or any statistics. It's pertinent to note that both the central government and the state government at the time had absolutely no data on the number of forced conversions either in the state or in the country. It was brought in only to
numbers of conversions.
Sir, one second. Sir, one second. Let him make his point. Sir, let him make his point. I'll come to you. Mr. Hegde, make your point. Yes.
The act only sought to further a political agenda and attempted to create a hostile environment in the state. So we are in no way defending forced conversions by allurement in any means. But we are saying there are sufficient remedies available in existing statutes and under existing provisions of law.
For example,
the Indian Penal Code.
No, what provisions under the Indian
Section
Penal Code?
506 of the Indian Penal Code.
Okay.
This particular act was used as a tool to peddle hate and sow seeds of communalism. And we should take action against anyone who peddles hate and against those who indulge in forced conversion. Now, any individual...
506 is a threat to cause death or grievous hurt. It's a... No, 506, Mr. Hegde, is a section which is about causing grievous hurt or... Yeah, it's intimidation.
So it's criminal intimidation.
Yeah, but it also requires grievous injury, grievous physical injury.
No,
that's what it requires.
Not at all. It doesn't require injury. Ma'am, I'm an advocate by profession.
With due respect, I know a bit of law. It does.
It does not. It does not.
It is a cause and offence punishable with death or imprisonment of life or with an imprisonment which may extend to 7 years. Are you saying this grievous injury is without physical injury?
Of course, 506 only speaks about criminal intimidation. It does not require injury to take place.
I can't debate on a fact. I can't debate on a fact.
When I'm talking about...
One second. Prashantji, I'm coming to you after this. Yes.
When a particular person wants to convert into Hinduism or convert into Islam or convert into Christianity, it is his personal right and he should be allowed to do it. Such acts act as an obstacle to
following your own personal and individual rights. And that is why it has to be repealed.
Well, sir, the fact of the matter is that the question that the BJP is asking you, yes, Mr. Prashant, make your point, then I'll take another point. Yes.
We are not stopping anybody from voluntary conversion. If people want to convert on their own will, the Constitution provides for it, and we are not stopping it. What Congress is now trying to do is to support such of those people who would have indulged in illegal conversions to get away scot-free from the law. Because if there's somebody who's aggrieved by this, when they go to the court, like how the Congress spokesperson is now trying to say that it's under 506, court will say, under which law have you come to me? Criminal intimidation under IPC 506 is a more of a generic section, and you have to prove a lot of things. Whereas there is no specific law here to say that you were forcefully converted, because a lot of other factors go in. When the coercion happens, they are lured with money and people are threatened. You have seen on record what happened in Mandi also 2 years back as to how people came out and said what they were threatened with, how their relatives were threatened. So therefore, it has happened. And on record, the bishop from Kerala in 2021 has gone on to record to say that love jihad is increasing and they're luring Christian girls and also Hindu girls into this trap.
But sir, I believe there needs to be a distinction that's drawn here. Prashantji, I think there's a distinction that needs to be drawn here. Love jihad, quote unquote, a term which is talked about by the right-wing organizations. It's a slippery slope. One second. There you can argue whether it's criminal or it's not criminal. This particular law was about criminality of conversion. It drew a very strong line. I want to bring in Mr. B.S. Arun and Mr. Rashid Kidwai also into the discussion. They've been patiently listening to the political spokesperson. Mr. B.S. Arun, how do you see this move by the Karnataka government at the present stage? And this is in line with various other measures that they have taken, whether it's about the revision of the syllabus or a lot of quote-unquote corrections that they have made to different laws. This perhaps seemed to have given a new lease of life to the brand of communal politics in the state.
Well, this is one of those, as you mentioned, one of those, promises the Congress had made during the elections. It was part of the manifesto. So they are only saying that, they are implementing the manifesto promises. So to that extent, Congress is well within its rights to do what it wants to do. In 2021 itself, when the Bommai government brought in this law, Congress had said that within a week, of coming to power, it will repeal this law. Now, of course, it's close to a month, and they're doing it next month. So one is the election promise, and the other thing is, as you mentioned, that over the last few weeks, we have ever since coming to power, Congress, is going sort of on a fast track to undo all most of the things that the BJP government has done. One, and two, act on the promises that it has made, like the guarantees. The guarantees have been put on a fast track, although there are problems. The travel for women has been made free in the ordinary buses of the KSRTC, which is the government-run transport service. So like this, the Congress is now going ahead quite fast on implementing its poll promises. It's not waiting for for the days to come and for the assembly to meet. So it's taking decisions one by one, and these are the poll promises that
they had made. And you rightly say it's that these are poll promises that they need to deliver upon. The government also said that they have the mandate to do so. Mr. Rashid Kidwai, what the state government of Karnataka is doing right now will have a direct bearing in some way or the other on the narrative that we are going to witness from the Congress party ahead of the very crucial Lok Sabha elections, which are slated to happen next year. The slew of measures and bold measures, I might argue, that the state government has taken so far, what does it communicate?
So it is obviously, it shows there is a total political color, the BJP on the one side and the Congress on the other, about a thing that is essentially legal in nature. I fail to fathom if the BJP really feels very strongly about conversions and its impact on society. Why there has been 9 years, a full majority government has been in power at the center. Why no attempt has been made to bring a central law that is applicable to all states. And you see, if you look at Anusha, I'm just saying as a from a reporter's perspective, most places we do not have a empirical data. I mean, there are reports by American think tanks, etc., which says that actually religious conversions are very few and they are quite rare, and they are there in all directions. I mean, Muslims converting to Christianity, Hindus converting to Christianity, and there's some Hindus, Christians and Muslims coming back to the Hindu fold and all, but there is a lack of data. And where there is a kind of criminal intent or criminal aspect comes in. Most of the time it is used as so to discourage or harass priests and Maulvis and the people and the religious authorities who do this conversion. So this is to scare away, and it is to give a thing that our religion is under threat and then we are a protector. Now that is not the state's job. State's job is to to allow and prevent any wrongdoing. Here what is happening is a total what I call it as a kind of bullying method. This is not done.
All right, you've made your points. Prashant, yes, I think you have a lot of things to rebut there, but my two questions to you. One is that many leaders of the BJP, some of whom lawyers at the Supreme Court, have raised this point that why not have a central legislation that deals with conversion? And your critics have, repeatedly used this particular argument that there is no empirical data. The government has been in power at the center for about 2 terms now. The second term is nearing completion. But yet there is no empirical study or data to back an anti-conversion law. Please go ahead. Prashant ji.
Yanisha, to answer the first one, why there is no central law, things will be looked into at whatever level laws will be brought in. The law committee and the senior cabinet, they will take a call, and laws wherever applicable will be promulgated. Next, coming back to empirical data, are you saying that in a country of 140 crore people, if 10,000 conversions happen, just because it's a minuscule number compared to the percentage, you are saying this is empirical data?
I'm not even going to the question of minuscule or major. I'm saying even if it's minuscule, major or whatever, it needs to be on paper, and it's not on paper.
Yeah, Anusha,
and that's what is the argument which is being used against this law.
Anusha, you can't play with the sentiments of Hindus by saying there is no number saying you have 1, 2 or 5 or 10. It is on record in many places how this happens. This is more like a covert operations what they do. They convert people. They only show up later on saying that they've converted. The second generation is what they're targeting. They convert the first generation. The names don't get changed. So second generation they convert. There are dubious methods which are adopting. Everybody on this panel are aware as to what's happening.
No,
but
sir.
they're only trying to give a different color to it, saying this there's no empirical data. Assuming that what they're saying we have to toe their line, fine. There is no empirical data. What's the harm in having a law which says if you're forcefully converting somebody, that he or she will be imprisoned? Why is Congress not behind it? Which means Congress is Congress wanting to have people to get converted forcefully?
All right, Mr. Hegde, the key question is that it's absolutely right, and I can see that point, that right now there is no empirical data to back a law of this nature. And in the absence of empirical data, one wonders to what extent should the law interfere. But that being said, forceful conversion is something that many people talk about. Various organizations have spoken of. This is a concern that the right-wing organizations have historically raised in this country. Shouldn't there be an attempt by the present state government to make tweaks or changes in the present law, which the Congress party had earlier argued to be unconstitutional? For example, the provision pertaining to complaint, or how the arrest happened, or the burden of proof that was put on the people who were accused disproportionately. Perhaps tweaking could have been the right way. Would you concede that point?
So right now we have only decided to repeal the law which was forced down the throats of Kannadigas. There were particular provisions relating to which would impede fundamental personal rights and rights on personal liberty. With respect to giving a notice if you want to convert, you were required to give a notice. You were required to give
the constitution otherwise.
All right. I'm absolutely out of time. I'm completely out of time. But yes, there is a need to understand this entire debate around conversion with perhaps an objective eye, and we do need empirical data around it. The politics between the BJP and the Congress on this issue will go on. I thank all my panelists for joining us on the broadcast. With that, it's a wrap on Viewpoint. Tossing it over to Plain Speak.
It's one, graft charge after another, and as the ED investigates some of the more talked about scams like the teacher recruitment scam, the fundamental question, Riju, that will be asked is, this is the poorest who are being looted in the name of jobs. The worst kind of corruption.
If they can do